We are back, but in a way that you could not possibly be prepared for. 1 week has passed. Shane is gone. Dan is here. We are mobile. Can I maintain this level of energy?
Yes.
No, it's already over. I'm gasping for air.
It's dead in the water.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. So, when we last left you, we were stationary on January 7th, talking about awards, about to watch the Dome Show. Now, we are the opposite of stationary, on a long-haul truck route.
Having already watched the Dome Show.
Having already watched the Dome Show.
To confirm, it was in fact in a dome, and it was in fact a show.
2, 4, 2. We did it.
Couldn't guarantee it, but it happened.
It was a Dome Show. Confirmed. So, do we do an emergency Dome Show report now, or do it after?
We can do either or.
Ladies' choice.
Dan?
Whatever.
That's not making a choice, lady.
A car full of people not wanting to make decisions. This is our life.
And of course, not deciding before we started recording.
Well, I would say, just to keep with the times, let's just finish our awards.
All right.
Because we're going to do awards, then Dome Show review, and then awards. That seems like a weird train to go on.
Well, that's why it would be an emergency report.
I don't know that it needs to be an emergency.
Okay, emergency is called off. Turn off the Amber Alert. We're okay.
What about that kid we have in the trunk?
That kid, don't you worry about that kid.
Right.
That kid knows what she did. Okay, so back to 2016 awards, MMXVI.
I'm going to have to check your math on that one. No, I know, that's right.
I think I'm legit.
You're legit.
So
legit.
where did we leave? We last left you with our good pal Shane talking about Randy Orton maintaining agency over his character, unlike many people. But we have now moved on to...
well, we can do the best TV show.
TV show.
Which in the past has mostly consisted of New Japan or Ring of Honor.
Or Lucha Underground last year.
Or Lucha Underground last year.
Yeah.
I guarantee it won't be this year.
Maybe not for you.
You still think it is?
Well, I'll talk about it.
Okay.
So yeah, Dan, thoughts on best TV shows this year?
Always great to start off with a yawn.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've watched much.
Any TV shows?
No,
I also haven't watched a lot.
No, I honestly, I watched episode 1 of season 3 of Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
And
you watched all of 2, though.
I did watch all of 2.
That was all 2016.
Was it?
Yep. It doesn't seem like it, right?
No, it doesn't.
I know.
Because they kind of rushed 3, and then 3 started in September.
Because I listened to our last year's awards, and Matanza had not debuted yet.
I see.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
So we were I think
CGI.
we knew he was going to be Jeff Cobb. I think they had taped some season 2,
right?
But
right.
yeah, season 2 hadn't started yet. So 2016 is all of season 2 and the first half of season 3.
Yeah, it 2 was fine. 2 was good, I guess I'd even say. I think 3, really, from what little I saw, didn't do much for me and didn't really hold my interest to the point that I wanted to continue watching it. Which I feel might, to start strong-ish. Because 2 was good with, Matanza's debut was good. Rey Mysterio being more of a focal point was good. Pentagon kind of came and gone throughout the season, right? He was gone for a little bit.
He disappeared in the middle a little bit.
But he still was.
And he's been, he hasn't done hardly anything in season 3.
Except for,
well, he got his arms broken by girls, right? Is that
a girl and Dragon Azteca Jr.
Yeah,
but,
he's been out since then.
Yeah, so I don't know if it, is TV in such a state that when you balance the good with kind of meh, is Lucha Underground still top of the heap?
Well, you take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have Lucha Underground.
Fair. But yeah, no, I honestly haven't. Besides watching all of season 2, I don't watch Ring of Honor TV. I don't watch Raw.
I think Ring of Honor is a lot like NXT.
Yeah.
In that it's quite solidly booked.
Yeah.
But can often be boring just on a week-to-week basis.
Sure.
But they're both good at like building to the big stuff.
Sure. I haven't really watched NXT much either. I mean, I keep up with everything. I listen to lots of podcasts.
Yeah.
I sort of know what's going on in the world.
Do you listen to our podcast?
No, I don't, in fact.
Good. The things we say.
I'm sure you say things about me and how I'm such a negative Nancy.
I didn't say anything. I didn't say about you. I just said the things we say
about me.
Never. Not a once.
Sure. But NXT really doesn't seem like
Week 5th.
it's as strong as it once was. And, probably a good reason for that is like the roster's been
Talent level. Yeah.
pretty depleted and like called up. Although they got a bunch of new guys who they've signed, who in theory will be making debuts pretty shortly. So
Yeah.
so maybe 2017 will be NXT's year again. I wonder if NXT will still get the heralds from the different media sources as being, the best television, just kind of based on reputation,
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think definitely not this year as much as some previous years, for sure.
Yeah.
So I really don't have an answer for you. I'm sorry. I don't know why you went to me for.
That's right. I have a question regarding television shows.
Sure.
Does the Cruiserweight Classic count as a television show?
Yes.
Oh, I personally think like the Golden Globes. It's like a mini series or made for.
It's a limited run.
It's
program?
a limited run program.
Yeah.
Because it was 10 episodes.
Yeah.
But
that is something I watched, and if it's a limited run, if it counts as a TV series, I'd probably vote for that. Honestly.
But how about Game of Thrones is a TV show that is only 10 episodes?
Yeah. I don't know how they decide what's what, because like Golden Globes and Emmys and stuff. Like Game of Thrones is 10 episodes. It's a full length drama. Yeah. Fargo was, I think, also 10 episodes and was a miniseries.
Yeah.
So I don't get it.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now that my answer is Cruiserweight Classic, depending on, no matter what we decide is the answer, because it's the only thing that I agree with. Season 2 of New Underground was good.
Yeah.
It wasn't as great as season 1, but I don't know if it's just because we were so hyped up for number 1 that number 2 just didn't live up to the hype.
Yeah.
And I personally, I'm caught up on 3. I have 1 episode left, like the mid-season finale I haven't watched.
I just watched it.
And I feel like the quality of matches is not as good. The quality of the wrestlers they're using is not as good. They've relied a lot on hokey gimmicks and like they're just forming teams for the sake of forming teams.
I find myself fast-forwarding a lot of matches and just watching the non-wrestling segments, which are always good.
Of course. Those are always great.
They're either legitimately good, legitimately funny,
or laughably bad.
Or they have Sexy Star and are laughably bad.
That
is the worst wrestler and actress. It's amazing how she's terrible at everything.
I think that also plays a big part in why I don't think 3 is very good, is because there's been such a strong focus on Sexy Star.
Yeah,
that she is awful.
Yeah, Dan, in our first half, Sexy Star came up a lot negatively.
Gotcha.
She's got a good body. People think she's attractive.
Bad wrestler, bad actress.
Push her to the moon.
Yeah.
Well, she doesn't really speak English either.
No.
So.
Well, that leads us to one thing that was mentioned earlier, Dan. At one point, when she had won the title,
yes,
and she was feuding, her next match was against Johnny Mundo for the title.
Didn't she lose it in her next match?
She lost in her next match. She has consistently lost the Gift of the Gods to Johnny Mundo.
Yeah.
Then lost the
World
title to Johnny
Mundo.
Mundo in her first match after winning the title.
Yes.
There was a promo in the back with her and Willie Mack. She is exclusively speaking Spanish.
Yep.
Willie is exclusively speaking English.
Yep.
I don't think either one of them understood the other one.
Sure.
And it was laughably bad.
Yeah.
It was terrible because they would film her saying her thing, and then when they would cut back to Willie, it was like Willie was talking to nobody.
Yeah.
Like they just like
they were both
yeah,
playing off of nothing.
This is what I need you to say, so just say this. So she would say her thing in Spanish, they would cut to him, and he would just say like the lines they gave him. Like, no reactionary thing, no, it was just saying the lines. It was horrible.
So, yeah.
But yeah, I say Cruiserweight Classic, even if it's a mini series or a limited special.
Yeah.
I think it was the best thing. I think there was some bad stuff in the early stages because obviously some of the beginning matches.
Of filler.
Yeah, a lot of those guys weren't very good.
A lot of the first round was filler.
They're just small. But like,
if I was to name like
progressed,
two filler people in the first round,
I feel like they needed to like outsource a little to maybe like the southern, like kind of between China and Africa.
Yeah, sort of.
But there
like,
wasn't anybody.
Sort of India by way of Vancouver,
who are now somewhat working for them, kind of.
Yeah.
Bollywood boys.
Bollywood boys. Anyway, I have an analogy about the CWC, the cruiserweights in general. That tell me if it's brilliant or if I should go fuck myself. The cruiserweights, the CWC is WCW. You switch it up.
Yes.
And here's why I think that. The CWC itself, that was like actual WCW 90s when it was like good and chugging along successfully.
Right.
Then it stops. Vince takes it over. Uses maybe half of the good guys he should be using.
Yeah.
And it totally sucks.
Correct.
And then, sort of as time goes on, they add some of the proper guys, and it gets a little better. Like, I feel like it's exactly the same with both.
Yeah, I feel like that's an accurate analogy. Like, the fact is, you had so many, like, really good, talented guys, and, like, not like I don't like Perkins or Kendrick, but, like, that's all the cruiserweight division was when they got called up.
Yeah.
It was just those two against each other.
Yeah,
like, they didn't utilize anybody else until finally they were like, all right, well, Brian Kendrick's getting old. Let's give him a break. Let's cut him some slack.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Dan, do you wish to chime in on this?
No.
But, yeah. Cruiserweight Classic, if it counts. The only show I do watch every week is Lucha Underground, still currently. Just because I think, and I agree with everything that's been said about it. But it's, it's not as good, but it is the most different show.
Yeah, and we're invested in it too, I think.
Yeah,
because we started from the beginning.
I have been watching every week. Yeah, so that's in there. I think New Japan on Access is good, but it's like stuff we've seen already, so I don't watch it very often.
Yeah,
and that takes care of most of those.
Yeah. All right, moving on. What was the best individual show of the year?
Yeah, the best event. I've got a few. Well, like, I feel like New Japan's going to come up a lot here.
Yes.
Because they're pretty good at doing big shows.
They are.
So, I will say that I'm pretty sure the best show of the year was the Dome show last year. I think others might agree. If they don't, I don't care.
I would agree with you, sir.
Fuck yourself.
Nope. I concur that was a very excellent show with excellent main events. A lot of the stuff on it was pretty killer.
Yeah, it had your Tanahashi Okada,
had your AJ Nakamura,
had your Shibata Ishii.
Throw chop psychology. If you're not doing it, you're not doing wrestling.
Throw
right.
chops. Kushida Omega.
Yep.
Yeah, very good show. Multiple high-end 4-star matches, always good for a show.
Yes.
Other good New Japan shows, their June big show is very good. Dominion, I think. That was Okada winning the title back from Naito.
Yeah.
That was the Omega Elgin ladder match, which was crazy. And that was Shibata winning the Never back from Nagata in what had to be Nagata's best match of the last several years. It was great. So that was really good. The second last day of the G1 was very good. That had Omega Naito.
Yep.
It had Elgin Nakajima, which was really good. And something else. Shibata Evil, I think. So that was a good show. Probably better over all of the G1 finals the next day, but that was also good. And the October big show as well, King of Pro Wrestling, which was Okada Marufuji,
Forgot about that one.
which was really good. What was under that? Shibata O'Reilly,
Yep.
which was really good, and Omega Goto rematch, which was also that was another really good show.
Yeah.
So those are the big New Japan ones. I should have looked up, but probably whatever was the best NXT takeover is probably up there for show of the year.
Yeah, that would probably
So
either
you-
be Brooklyn 2 or
Toronto.
Toronto, probably.
Dallas?
Or the end, yeah, Dallas.
What did Dallas have besides Nakamura Zayn?
It had
the tag title.
The tag title match where American Alpha won, and it also
Did they win that, or did they win the next
They won the rematch at the end.
one? Yeah, I think they won the next. I think they lost Mania weekend.
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah. Everyone was expecting them to win that one.
And then it had Finn Balor versus Joe.
Right. And Asuka Bailey?
Yes.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Asuka winning the title, I think. Yeah. So that was a good show. And what did Brooklyn have?
Gargano and Ciampa versus the Revival.
Their first match, not the 2 out of 3.
Yeah, the first one.
Yeah, the DIY lost.
DIY
Yes.
lost.
Yeah. That was good.
It would have been.
Had they started Joe Nakamura yet, or was that later?
Yes, it was
Yeah,
Joe
It
Nakamura
was
won.
the first. Okay. So that's a good one. And then Toronto.
Toronto had the rematch of the Revival and
Right.
DIY,
Which is
which,
2 out of 3
which is the
falls.
worst fucking name for tag team ever. Should we do it ourselves?
Yes,
Whatever.
DIO. Dio.
Dio, right? Dio.
And yeah.
Joe Nakamura.
Another Joe Nakamura.
Nakamura,
Yeah. So that was a good show too. Yeah,
And
so-
Bobby Roode and Ty Dillinger.
which was actually pretty good, right?
Yeah, it was entertaining.
So them were all good.
I'm not high on Ty Dillinger, but
Yeah. We saw a couple of live shows that are probably in the running. I think Meltzer described one of them as better overall than the Dome show, I think. That being day 2 of Bola,
yep.
which had a number of very strong tournament matches and 2 fucking killer tag and 6-man matches, which we discussed a little bit later. So that's probably up there as well. So yeah, Dome show number 1, and then any number of New Japan Takeover or Bola day 2 under that is what I got.
That is also, I have Wrestle Kingdom as number 1, and then I had Bola as number 2, and then I had
Day 2?
Day 2, and then I had
I think the days would be 2, 3, 1
2, 3, 1.
descending order, right?
and then I had Takeover Brooklyn 2 as number 3.
Cool. What do you like, Dan?
Yeah, that all sounds fine.
Those things.
The Wrestle Kingdom is number 1 for sure.
Yeah.
So,
All right, well,
Probably will be next year.
yeah, quite likely. Pretty hard to top that.
And it was last year. It was as well.
I believe so.
Yeah. You could look. I think. It was.
reading.
Well, I could look while I'm driving, but
Sure.
I feel like you guys.
I would love for you to look while
I
you're
feel like you guys get all nervous when I do that.
Please,
Hey, what
please
was
don't.
WWE Match of the Year last year?
What's that?
For 2016?
Oh, we didn't do it last year. We only did 2014.
What match? Worst match?
Best WWE match.
I think we only did that.
We only did
2014.
2014. Yeah.
By the way, kind of a tough call this year. Like there was not a lot of high-end WWE this year.
There's some.
There's a couple. I've got 2 to discuss in match of the year, neither of which is in my top 3.
One jumps to my mind as well, but again, it's not going to be one of my best matches of the year.
Last year we had Dome Show combined for number 1. I said Takeover Brooklyn and most of Ultima Lucha,
Yes.
and then you also said the August New Japan.
G1 finals.
G1 finals.
Those, Tanahashi Nakamura
Yeah.
and other stuff.
Yeah.
All right. what does that bring
Well,
us
that
to?
brings us to, which is...
Hang on to those because I'll need them.
which has already been mentioned, sort of, which is best fed. I think we know the answer to this one.
AAA?
Yes, you nailed it.
I always do.
I mean, I think the answer is always New Japan unless something else amazing happens.
Yeah, I think New Japan, then PWG.
Sure.
Because they never really have a bad show.
Nope.
They could be more so in the discussion for first if they ran more often, but like, how many shows did they have in 2016? Like, maybe 8, 3 of which were in one weekend?
Yeah, if you count the 3 nights of Bola as
Separate shows.
you have Lemmy, Bowie, Prince. All-Star Weekend 11,
Which is a 2-day?
nights 1 and 2.
Yeah.
You have 13, which is the anniversary show.
Yeah.
You have nights 1, 2, and 3 of Bola.
And then they didn't run till December, right?
And then you have Mystery Vortex, so that's 10 shows if you include those multi-day shows.
10 shows, 8 weekends?
7 weekends.
7 weekends, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's not much, but you can't really argue with the quality.
No, you can't.
It's pretty great.
Although, here's okay. I'm going to be a negative guy now.
Do it. That's what you're here for.
Yeah, basically. And
A real Keanu Reeves.
And for
Devil's advocate.
where we're driving is really why I'm here. But
No.
I like for me personally,
Maybe it's just me, but for me,
exactly PWG and both the also the New Japan kind of main event style have kind of jumped the shark for me. Like
I hear you. Fun fact, you said that in 2014.
did I really?
Yep.
For both
No,
of them?
actually, no, New Japan. And you didn't say it had jumped the shark, but you said it was dangerously close to
Jumping the shark.
getting played out. Yeah.
Yeah. So like.
Which, by the way, not wrong then, not wrong now.
No, like for me, like I didn't watch any of the high end New Japan stuff from 2016. Like I watched the
Oh yeah,
Dome.
you're gonna have different match of the year stuff than
Very
us.
much.
Yeah.
I watched the Dome show, and I watched Okada versus Ishii from whatever night 2 of the G1.
It was in the middle.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like night 10 or something.
Okay, I didn't realize it was that late. But
Yeah.
anyways, so I watched that because it was getting all sorts of praise like the day after.
Yeah.
And other than that, I don't think I watched any of
I don't
the
think
big...
I watched a single wrestling match.
I don't think I watched any of the big New Japan matches. So, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of too patterned for me at this point, and it just doesn't do much for me, like, on a consistent basis. Like, watching the Dome show, especially in a group setting, I still, like, enjoy myself, and I recognize when, even though matches don't necessarily... aren't structured in a way that's necessarily my favorite way matches are going nowadays.
Yeah.
I still recognize when they're good.
That they're
right?
done well.
They're done well too, right? But yeah. So that just really hasn't done much for me. And honestly, PWG, I'm like kind of starting to turn on just because I feel like I feel like their audience isn't as smart as they think they are.
They're not.
I honestly,
we learned that live.
yeah, I think like they're, I think the building being so compact, and I think people there love wrestling. I don't question that, and they're like receptive. And like one thing that I think gets overlooked is they drink a lot there.
Yep.
So like it's a great crowd reaction in like a small contained building, so it like feels really like it's a hot place to work.
Yeah.
But I feel like that building in particular is really more receptive to like what's essentially Spot Fest wrestling.
Yeah.
And so the guys who work there recognize that, and with very few exceptions, that's the style they work towards, like so that they can get the best reception they can for that audience. And which, I mean, that's not wrong, right? In theory,
that's
you're supposed to work towards the audience that's in front of you, right?
Yeah.
And also the audience that's going to buy their DVDs, right?
Sure.
But at the same time, I just feel like that's also kind of played out, and it's just not really what I want to watch. And but again, I'm just one guy. I'm just one, I guess, cynical guy at this point.
You want to watch Evolve Grapple Fucks that certain reviewers online are very mean to.
Exactly. That is what I want to watch, in fact. I love to watch those in front of a PWG audience where the PWG audience is, like, really into that.
Yeah. Well, we sort of saw one. Like, we saw Thatcher Gulak in January.
We did, and that match was awesome.
And
but
that
like,
was
but that's like the only grapple fuck match from PWG all year, basically, right?
Yeah.
And because like even like Zach does that kind of stuff, but he even kind of reins it in a little bit.
Yeah.
Like,
and he works sort of a spotty version of that.
a little bit, yeah.
Like in PWG.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's not like the people were coming unglued for that match live.
No.
Like, they were respectful of it.
Yeah.
And they popped for, like, the big near falls and stuff.
Yeah.
But that was, like, the only match of that style in PWG all year.
Yeah.
I think that's the only time. No, Thatcher wrestled Roddy.
Yeah, and Kyle and Riddle.
Yeah, but they were not that receptive to that match live at Bola. No. So, anyways, that's
reasonable.
But New Japan, they're the second most successful business-wise in the world, and they're, first when it comes to churning out high-end matches and just good overall cards as well, on a consistent basis. They have to be Fed of the Year.
Yeah. In talking about it, honorable mention to Evolve, who I think definitely had their best year.
Absolutely, they do. They've grown. The problem with Evolve is they're constantly going to get cherry picked by the WWE because they have that relationship with them. And they also they try a lot of new things, and they push a lot of new guys before a place like PWG would push anyone.
Yeah.
PWG really just kind of cherry picks guys who are like established elsewhere.
Nobody gets made in PWG.
No, anymore.
PWG picks made guys.
They pick made guys. Exactly.
I have one that I beg to differ.
I thought you actually did. You don't.
No, I do. Famous B.
Yeah, he hasn't worked PWG in like 4 years.
Yeah, but he got made PWG.
No, he didn't.
I thought he was working the garbage dark matches.
He was working the garbage
but he
dark
didn't get
matches.
made
How does
by that.
entail getting made?
I know.
Yeah, no. I won't take away the fact that 5 years ago, PWG's undercards used to have more local guys.
Yeah.
But now the only local guys who are at PWG now are the Bucks. Those are the only non-fly-ins. So,
That's where the money is.
But Evolve, they're using a lot of younger guys and like trying to establish newer guys, and not all of that hits for me, like personally.
Yeah, it does not work.
And not all of those guys work that. Like Evolve kind of gets typecast as being like the grapple fuck indie, but but a lot of the guys they're bringing in now do not work that style at all. So, anyways, that was a bit of a tangent. I apologize.
And
That's
also,
the most you'll hear from me all day.
And also honorable mention to Progress.
Progress is always very good.
We're really good.
That's another.
And have a good business model.
Progress is kind of the European PWG, though.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah, not as much to that extent, but I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're good. Anyway.
Well, we have 3 remaining.
Yeah.
Let's go with who was
Champion?
I was going to say wrestler of the year.
Okay. Whatever.
But let's do champion then.
Okay.
Fine. We'll do champion of the year. For me, I wrote down Okada question mark because
I feel like I also wrote down Okada question
because
mark.
I feel like by default he's the only one. I think
he had the world title all but 2 months of the year.
Yeah, and AJ has had a fine, okay run in the E.
Yeah.
It's more than we expected from him, I think.
I think so.
The Raw one has kind of changed a few times, and then Owens has had it for the last little while, but...
Because Raw has been, because it was...
Hunter...
It was Roman, Hunter, Roman.
Rollins, Ambrose.
And then that went to SmackDown, Ambrose to Styles.
Yeah.
And then Raw went Balor for a day.
Yeah.
Owens?
Yeah. So it's kind of a clusterfuck.
I don't think anyone from that wins Best Champion.
I guess, Matanza.
Yeah, Matanza I wrote down, he was, booked super strong.
Yeah.
So he's a possibility. I guess Nakamura's been fine in NXT.
Yeah. He's had like him and Joe have
Yeah.
done good
Actually,
stuff.
Revival as
Revival, yeah.
tag for half the year.
Yeah, that's not bad. Like
Yeah.
they've done all right for themselves. Yeah.
Well, Ring of Honor was basically Jay Lethal and Adam Cole, which whatever. I think the Bucks were PWG tag champions all year. That
Sure.
they probably had one defense.
Sure. Who cares?
I would.
At this point.
Okada would be a much easier pick if New Japan did more world title matches.
Yes.
But they're doing like 5 a year.
Well, we looked at how many he had in the last 2 years as well. Like, it was like he had 5 in 2015.
Yeah, it was like 5 or 6 and 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And they don't do any over the summer. Like I think the last 2 years they haven't done one between June and October, which is stupid.
I really do not understand that.
Do a July, like okay, don't do one G1.
Yeah.
But do a July and do a September.
Yeah.
G1 starts in middle of July now, though.
I know that hurts it, but they do like a they have to do like a big show early July before the but not this one. Hold on. Sorry about that. Phone fell off its area.
Still recording, we're good.
Still recording.
You're gonna hear a loud thud in the middle of that.
I would edit it, but I'm not going to. So New Japan do more world title match, then this is an easy call. But as it is, it's not. I don't know. Is it? I can't anything.
Saber?
Saber and PWG had it since April with 2 defenses.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, I really can't think of anybody other than Okada.
There's no big standout. Well, I had a much easier time last year, which was Cena as US.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was like an easy win for me, but WWE mid cards this year. I guess Miz has had the IC for most of the year, but
he lost it,
but not very long.
No,
he's
but
not,
as far as like time
he's not
held,
a terrible choice actually.
because like he won it the day after Mania, and besides I think a month or less to golf, he's had it since.
Yeah,
which I guess in terms of
longevity, he lost it again, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he
Ambrose
just lost it to Ambrose. That might have been 2017.
Oh yeah, maybe.
It was like a week or two ago.
Yeah, it was a week or two ago.
But
I think Okada just almost kind of by default.
Yeah.
Which leads us to Wrestler of the Year. And I think that I think there's some strong choices this year.
We don't know if we have the same one, because just before we started, we briefly said I think I have a different one than Drew.
Okay.
But I might be totally wrong, and we might have the same
Well,
one.
before we actually say our winners, why don't we say our runners-up? Because I know we both said we had options that we were considering.
Yeah, I have a number one, and then I have a chunk of other guys.
I have
fighting
guys.
for 2nd through 6th or whatever. So in terms of my other guys, you may need to get my sheet, but I'll see what I can do from memory. So Ishii was my number one last year or the year before, I don't remember which. He didn't get to do as much this year as last year's, but he did have 2 of the best performances of the year. One with Okada and one in his first and probably only ever world title match with Naito, where he was a fucking star in that match, and I thought was better than Naito, who is also an excellent wrestler.
Yeah.
So he's tag champion now, so with Yano, so we'll see where that goes, but I hope he gets to do some like big old singles matches again, and at least in the G1 again. So that'll be something. So Ishii was in there. Okada's in there because he's Okada, and like certainly is always like given the opportunity to have great matches, and pretty much always does. So more credit to him there. Shibata had a really good year. The 2 matches with Ishii, a couple with Nagata, 2 with Kyle O'Reilly, 1 in Ring of Honor, 1 in one in New Japan. Some actually quite good matches with Evil. He had a good G1. So Shibata's in the mix. I feel who did I had besides the person I think I wrote first.
Yeah.
Who do I have non-New Japan? Because I thought I had to go. Did I mention Saber? Saber.
You have Okada, Shibata, Ishii, Saber, Tozawa, and Omega.
Yeah, Omega's worth talking about because like I never would have had him in like my wrestlers of the year before 2016, but like he had inarguably a pretty great 2016.
Was it you and I, or was it Kelly and I that were discussing how much we hated Kenny Omega before this year?
I think it was you guys in like the ride home.
Oh yeah, maybe yeah. I legitimately fucking hated Kenny Omega before this year. Like I actually straight up hated him. Like he's a fine worker. He's got some cool stuff, but I just really did not like him before this year.
Yeah, and then like this is like nobody has benefited more from people leaving New Japan than Kenny Omega. Yeah. Like right when Nakamura left, he had the match with Tanahashi for the vacant IC, which is like sort of what made him a main event heavyweight star. Yep. Then he had the ladder with Elgin. Then he had a fantastic G1. 5-star match with Naito, 4 3/4 star match with Goto the next day. Then another good match with Goto in October, and then I think he also did something this year in 2017, but damned if I can remember what. So Omegas we're talking about. Yeah, Saber had a really strong year. Lots of good stuff in PWG. Lots of good stuff in Evolve. Lots of good stuff in Progress. Less good stuff in RPW, Revolution Pro in England, where I don't know, like it's almost as if he was intentionally wrestling badly to like turn heel. And like he is like maybe he already has fully, but like the one I watched him and Jeff Cobb from RPW in preparation to wrestle Jeff Cobb, and it was like not that good. It had like a weird sort of awkward finish, and like seemed designed to get Saber over as a heel rather than to be as good a match as possible. Which is weird, whatever.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so all those guys, and then I also have a number 1, and we can get back to him and see if it's the same as your number 1.
Well, after reading it, it is not.
Okay, I didn't think it was.
Yeah. So the ones that I've written down, although now that we've sort of been talking here and I've been thinking a little bit, the ones that I kind of was like had some thought of, I think obviously Okada. I think Naito had a really strong year.
Absolutely.
It's like the heel turn was the greatest thing that ever happened to him.
Couldn't have been better.
Like he's really good. His team is really over, I think, for the most part, or like the concept of their team
and
is
they
really
sell
over.
merch like fucking crazy.
A couple guys on the like mentioning path, or like I think Kevin Owens had a good year.
Yep.
I think TJP had a good year.
Yep.
He did some good stuff. In all honesty, I never thought I would say this, but AJ Styles, I think, did more than we thought he would, and had some really good matches, as long as they weren't at WrestleMania against Chris Jericho.
Or any other match.
Or any other match against Chris Jericho. But,
but he got 2 really good matches out of Reigns.
Yes.
And then
they had the ladder match, apparently, which we neither one of us
ladder match with Ambrose.
Apparently was really
Cena.
good. Match with Cena. There was that 4-pack thing, wasn't there?
Like the day after Mania one?
Yeah.
That was good. That was really good, actually.
He was in the good one, and no, was he in the good one or was he in the bad one? There was the bad one that had Roman, Sheamus.
We're talking about a different one. They did a 4-way the day after Mania for number 1 contender. That AJ
won. That's
after
the good one.
The day after losing to Jericho.
Yeah, that's the good one.
Then I think the first Raw of the brand split, they did 2 4-ways, and one of which was good, one of which was okay, which ended with Roman Balor.
Yeah.
And Balor won.
Yeah.
Right. So the 4-way that Balor won was the good one.
The person that I originally thought I was going to choose as number 1, but then
the aforementioned Roman Reigns.
But then absolutely,
yep,
he doesn't lose. I thought about it again, and I came to the conclusion of who I thought my number one was. But originally, I was like hands down, Marty Scurll is my number one. But then that's because I think I'm super gay for Marty Scurll.
He had a really good year.
He had a really good year, very strong. I mean, he wins Bola. He's now doing more stuff in Ring of Honor, and he's I love his work. But then I thought about it and came to the conclusion that there was somebody that I think was more than him.
Okay.
So, are we asking Dan, or is he?
Who do you like?
Yeah, those guys are fine.
Who's a good wrestler?
So I'm assuming this is on work rate alone, basically, right?
Pretty much match quality.
Mine's pretty much on work rate. Yeah.
That's kind of what I figured. Okay.
This is the what? It's not the Fez Award. It's the other one. Is it most outstanding?
It's
wrestler?
most outstanding.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a couple names that have been kind of batted around that I think maybe not getting there too. Like again, this is I don't watch a ton of wrestling, so I think AJ is very much the MVP of the WWF this year.
Yes,
and I think he will place very high in balloting for like the Observer newsletter and stuff.
Yeah.
I honestly fully expect for most outstanding, I think Will Ospreay's going to win.
He could.
I think the one thing kind of holding him back is his year kind of trailed off a little bit at the end as he started to slow down a little bit because
his body is falling apart.
He has an undiagnosed broken back.
But like for the first half of the year, he had the matches with Skrull that were crazy.
Yeah.
He had WrestleMania weekend. He had the Ricochet match and the Sabre match. Then, of course, there's the Ricochet match in the Super Juniors. There's the finals of the Super Juniors, Taguchi.
Yeah.
There's his first match
Kushida
versus Kushida back in April.
His match with Vader.
Not that. Later in the year, his match with, which I have actually watched, the match with Matt Riddle.
Yeah, like the 8-9 minute one.
Yeah, crazy sprint. Yeah. So, like I would never take away his athleticism from him, or like certain elements of his game are very good. I just think certain elements of his game are also lacking, and he's not really a complete wrestler as far as I'm concerned.
Totally.
But I recognize, like,
he's been in some great stuff.
He's been in some great matches this year, absolutely. I can't comment too much on the Japanese stuff. It's just kind of based on hearsay, so I haven't really seen it. But like, from what I've heard and what little I have seen, I think Okada and Naito are probably like the 1 and 2 in New Japan this year, as far as match quality and just them as stars who kind of carried the brand.
Yeah.
And actually, number 3 is probably Omega. Honestly,
I would agree.
My number 1 has not been mentioned yet, and I'm thinking it's who Scott has.
You think
as
it's my
well,
number 1?
so,
Yeah, you guys are probably on the same train.
Yeah, go for it.
You want me to say?
Let's see if it's the same one. It probably is.
I think from just consistency and match quality
And variety
of opponents.
We're talking about the same one.
And guy who can work basically anywhere.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to watch a DVD on the High Spots Network of him discussing his
year,
he'll
tell you about every match he had this year.
He'll tell you about every match he had through November.
Okay.
Which I did in fact watch. I think Chris Hero is far and away the number 1 wrestler of 2016 from just a match quality standpoint.
Yep, that's what I got.
And someone who goes into different promotions and just raises kind of the level of their work. So
yeah,
I think he's my vote for most outstanding for sure.
Yeah, like he's done so much different, interesting stuff. Like Evolve, you've got that tag in January. With Tommy Hunt against Sammy and Zach.
Yep.
He had another good match with Thatcher in like June. He's had good stuff with Tracy Williams. He's had good stuff with Matt Riddle.
Yep.
And then that's just an Evolve. And then he had those.
Zack Sabre Jr. Forgot to mention him.
Zach.
He wrestled Zack Sabre Jr. 20 times in 2016.
Holy shit. Yeah, and I've seen probably 3 of them, and they're all really good.
Yep.
I watched. He had some great stuff in England. He had 2 matches with Marty, one in Progress, one in Revolution Pro, both of which were excellent. Which, because I was watching, I'm like, I wonder if these will make my match of the year. And like, they're both really close actually. The Progress one is long. It's like 35 minutes, and then the Revolution Pro is like a more condensed, like 20 to 22 minute version of the other one.
Mm-hmm.
Both are great. And then in the Revolution Pro later in the year, he had the back-to-back matches with Ishii and Shibata, both of which are great.
Yeah.
What else has he done? I'm trying to think of other feds and other. Oh, PWG.
PWG.
Yeah, PWG's been all year. Had a bunch of great stuff. Except for him versus Roderick Strong, which we saw live in January, which was too long.
A really underrated match he had in PWG was at Bowie, I think, and it was him versus Trent.
Yeah, I saw. I haven't watched it. I saw Alan Forel gave him 4.5. I think.
Yeah, that match was really good. The match versus Cobb is really good.
Yeah, Cobb is fun. And then the tag at Bola.
The tag at Bola was good. The Liger match at Bola is not going to be on anyone's match of the year list, but like that was a very good match.
Yeah,
and like
it's a very good match with an old man,
with a 50-year-old man. You know, so
yeah, he's been all over the place, and like with all kinds of opponents, having just super cool matches. So good for you, super fat guy who's really good at wrestling. Pretty much the ideal me in wrestling. Have we said your number one, Drew?
No, because fuck me, apparently I don't watch enough wrestling, so... I'm going to say outside of Bola, I haven't seen a Chris Hero match this year.
You should probably see some, because there's a lot of good ones.
I just don't, I don't know. Like I said to you earlier this week...
Oh yeah, you don't...
I honestly feel like I fucking hate wrestling now, so... Yeah. Not doing, just watching. And it's not even that I hate it. I just, I feel like I just don't care about watching it.
Uh-huh.
You know, I actually formally committed to setting my DVR to not record Raw and SmackDown anymore.
Oh, you did? Wow,
it
that's
officially happened.
I think I still tape it. I never watch it, but I do tape it.
I literally do the same thing that I used to do with Raw, is I read results for NXT and then mostly just delete it.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it is. I just feel burned out on wrestling right now, I think. And I haven't even been watching.
I was going to say, you haven't really done anything to burn yourself.
No, not really. Honestly, not. But I think it's just for me, I feel like maybe there's other things I'd rather be doing or watching than, I don't know. But anyways, let's just move on to match, and I'll just say that my wrestler of the year was Kenny Omega. So
yeah, that's fine. So we did mention it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the fact that he took the major leap from wrestling for the junior title at Wrestle Kingdom to main eventing in what is already pretty much the match of the year.
Yeah.
The next year, I think, proves to me that
not a bad 12
and
months.
Everything in between. Sure, there was probably some garbage, 8-man, 10-man Bullet Club tag garbage in the middle there somewhere.
Yeah.
But everything he's done from the G1 and the ladder match, and I think that this year he kind of, and the fact that he won me over from a guy that I actually didn't give a shit about and I actually hated, I think proves to me that
someone you actively didn't like.
Yeah.
One thing I was going to say about that though, is I feel like he recognized with AJ's departure and Nakamura's departure for that matter.
Yeah.
Fucking Gallows and Anderson. I don't think they really.
Yeah, not really.
Didn't cause much of a ripple effect.
Yeah.
I think he recognized that it was his position to step up and become a top guy.
Right. Yeah.
And in doing so, I think he was conscious of changing his style and kind of tweaking it so it wasn't so cartoony.
Yeah,
his
totally.
selling wasn't so over the top and was a little bit more of a realistic and plausible and main event style of selling.
Yeah, because he doesn't do as goofy selling anymore. He doesn't do the Hadouken anymore.
No. He's really kind of tightened up his work.
Yeah.
And I was in the same boat as you. It's just I just found his work just not all that palatable, and now I find
he was pretty backyardy.
Yeah,
him and Ibushi,
super athlete. Never gonna take
incredible athlete.
Super athlete.
Him and Ibushi had a hell of a backyard match at that DDT Big Show.
Yeah. Was that 2012? Yeah. At the Budokan, which the match where Kota Ibushi got a lifetime ban from working the Budokan.
Yep, for doing a
moonsault off the balcony.
Worth it.
But yeah, no, I think that's a really good choice, and I think he was very conscious of the fact that he needed to tighten up his work, and he did it. Yeah. So good for him.
And I don't know what the year would have looked like without him in it. You know, like if AJ Nakamura had left and he didn't step up.
And nobody stepped up.
Yeah, like I
don't know what you
have to think about, like, well, what would the year have looked like had he not been the guy to step into that spot?
Like who's the IC champion for the first half of the year? Who wins the G1? Who do they build to with the Dome? Like,
is it just Naito the whole time? Like, that's all you
probably
can do, right?
That's like all you have.
Without him, I feel like the New Japan year would have been like majorly changed. So that's why I thought he was the guy.
Yeah, totally reasonable.
Now we get to the one that presumably is a long conversation. Is it? I don't know.
There's definitely some conversation to be had.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've literally written down 10 outside of my top threes. I don't know if they need to be all talked about. I feel like
you can mention them, but I
feel like
we don't need to have.
I feel like we've mentioned all of them already, anyways.
Yeah, I think a lot have sort of come up already. I probably have a similar amount written.
Well, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
So I think that bottom row is
The
all
bottom three.
WWE or NXT matches. So yeah, I don't have any WWE or NXT in my top. And one year, 2014, the last one Dan did, we actually did a separate one for WWE Match of the Year because we knew none would make it in.
Yeah.
We didn't this year, but like just for the sake of saying what the best were in the biggest fed in the world. I think I have a different match of the year for WWE than probably either of you. I thought the best match of the year was Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
Battleground. That's what mine was too.
I thought you would both have Revival DIY 2 of 3.
That's not WWE.
I was counting NXT.
Dan brings up
because I literally every other match I have, quote unquote WWE related, is NXT.
Fair.
It's Nakamura Zayn, that DIY Revival, and Cedric Ibushi.
Oh yeah, I didn't even put down Cedric Ibushi.
Yeah. So yeah, like besides Owen Zayn, like main roster in WWE, I didn't even know.
There was a very good AJ versus Roman at Extreme Rules.
Yeah. Now, was that the one that had the restarts with Shane and Stephanie, or was that not? I couldn't remember which is which.
I think it's not.
It's not
the one that has the restarts.
And it was like a no DQ or something?
Yeah. I think it was the one that stemmed from all the bullshit
with the restarts.
With the restarts.
Okay. Yeah, that was good. AJ and Cena had an excellent finisher.
SummerSlam.
An excellent finishers only match.
Yeah. Yes.
That wasn't the stipulation. That's just what they did.
That's how they chose to work it. Yeah.
So it was like literally 20 minutes of just finisher kickouts. But like it was fun. Yeah, like main roster besides that, I don't fucking know.
Apparently Miz and Ziggler.
Miz and Ziggler, 4.5 stars from Melts. None of us have seen it. None of us even want to see it, even after the star rating.
We probably should watch it though.
I guess.
This is going to be a dumb question because I think I know the answer, but there was nothing good on Mania this year, right?
There were 2 barely 4-star matches on Mania.
There was the women's three-way.
Women's three-way and the ladder.
And the ladder match.
Yeah, that's it. Mania sucked, P.S.
Yeah, it wasn't a great show.
Yep.
I think that was everything.
Do you want me to mention?
Yeah, I think that was everything I wanted to say about WWE. Does anyone else have any WWE-related comments?
Well, recounting NXT?
Yes.
Well, I mean,
Do you have any NXT like in your top 3? Okay.
But I do have both DIY and Revival matches.
Yeah,
both
are
both
good.
really good.
And Revival Alpha had
Revival, Alpha and American Alpha and Revival at TakeOver. Then I had Zayn and Owens Battleground, and that's it.
Okay, so I'm not in the minority on Zayn Owens.
No.
I think from consistency, the Cruiserweight Classic was probably the best show for good matches. Nothing that's necessarily going to crack. Mm-hmm. I mean, people might say Ibushi and Cedric, or Ibushi
Perkins.
Oh, and I was going to say Ibushi versus Kendrick. There's people who thought that match was really
that match was pretty good.
It was good. I like the Ibushi Perkins better than Ibushi Kendrick.
My favorite matches from that tournament.
Fucking Zach
and Gulak was awesome, but it was like a 9-minute match.
Short, but
it's not going to crack anyone's top 10.
It was really good, though.
That match was awesome. It's just like a real compact version of like a great Zach versus Gulak match.
Yeah.
There was also Tozawa versus Gallagher was really good.
Yeah.
And Tozawa
Tozawa,
versus Metalik
Yeah.
was really good.
Yeah.
And also, know what had like amazing mat work that kind of blew me away was Metalik versus Tajiri. That match had crazy mat work for like the first 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah,
That was
good.
like top flight, like
Yeah.
exchanging of holds, which is obviously what I like because that's who I am. So, but I've got nothing else to say about the WWE.
Yeah, me either.
Realistically, I got one match I'm going to talk about, so I'm just going to continue to do my Sudoku while you guys talk about shit. So.
Fair. Some others I watched recently to see if they would make it were the aforementioned the two hero and Skrull matches from England, both of which are great. I watched both Zack versus Osprey matches. I rewatched Zack Osprey from Mania Weekend Evolved because we watched it at your place, Dan.
Yeah.
I watched that again recently. It's really good.
That match was really good.
It might be my favorite Osprey match. Second favorite Osprey match. And then I just watched Zack Osprey from Progress in August, and it was also very good. I'm not actually sure what was the better between them, but both were excellent. So I was wondering if I said this off air, so I now have to say it on air. So we went to Boa, and
Spoiler alert.
that is a spoiler, I guess. That we went to a show 4 months ago. And there was much discussion as to what was the best match, and it was...
We in fact, as the weekend was going on, attempted to rank
every single match.
Yes.
Which I don't think we finished.
I can tell you right now, because I think I've got the rankings.
I think we got... Because we worked bottom up.
Yes.
And I think
there was some argument.
I think we went to sleep before we were able to rank the top 6, I want to say.
Yeah. I think we vaguely discussed it once we got back, I think, but I don't know that we actually ever agreed on anything.
Yeah.
No, I've got it here. I've got 3 matches that we did not fit into the top whatever. It's the whole thing.
Are they the top 3, or they're just not fit in?
They're not fit in, but they are all ones that would be near the top of the tier.
So of what's ranked, what are the top 3?
We've got the Heroes Eventually Die versus the Luchas.
Yep.
We've got Ricochet, Seidel, and Ospreay versus the Bullet Club.
Yeah.
At number 2. And then we have Zack and Tommy End at number 3.
Yeah, that was also really good.
But then of the 3 that we don't have ranked, we have Zack Ospreay, Bucks versus Luchas, and Ospreay versus Ricochet.
Yeah.
We hadn't fit those into the picture yet.
Yeah. So that was tricky. So so I yesterday rewatched the 3 big non-singles matches from Bola, those being Hero and End versus Pentagon and Phoenix, the Bucks versus Pentagon and Phoenix, and Seidel, Ricochet, Ospreay against Bucks and Cole. And I thought, having only seen them live, that I was leaning towards Hero and End against the Luchas as the best match, and then probably the 6-man next, and probably a very close third, Bucks and Luchas. So having watched them yesterday, Bucks and Luchas is definitely third, and the 6-man is first, between better finishing sequence, insane crowd heat, and just like the choreography that had to go into it to make it work, and like nobody fucked up besides the one poor Seidel dive that appeared on rewatch to be Ricochet's fault, kind of helping Seidel jump up for what was going to be the springboard moonsault or something.
Yeah.
Between all that, I think actually the 6-man, which Meltzer gave 5 stars, and some people disagree with. I don't know if it was 5 stars. I'd say probably worst case it was 4 3/4. For just like, as far as that type of match, it's tough to do one better than what they did. That is my match of Bola.
Sure.
And the two those 2 Zack singles were also great. The Tommy End and Will Ospreay were both excellent.
I haven't rewatched the End match. I have rewatched the Ospreay match. It's good. I don't think it'll touch the 6-man though.
Is it? Yeah. And I think the Zack Ospreay Evolved match might be better than that too.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. The Bola match is only like 10 minutes.
It's shorter, yeah.
And it's got some crazy spots in it, but
I really enjoyed the Ospreay Ricochet match because it was like a tighter, less ridiculous
correct
version of their New Japan match.
Yes.
Yeah. That's Bola stuff.
We got a little bit off on the tangent there.
So that was Bola things. What else do I have besides?
I think it's all New Japan left.
Bola and WWE stuff.
I believe it's all New Japan stuff.
Mostly New Japan?
I believe so.
Okay.
Because you already mentioned Scarlet Hero.
Yeah. Anything else?
Hero and End from May.
Yes, Hero and End from Progress in the tournament was awesome.
Strong Style 16.
Yes, as was Hero and Mark Andrews.
Yes.
Those were two fucking great matches that I also should have mentioned when we were talking about heroes. Good matches this year. Those are, seek both of those out. They're both phenomenal. Have you seen either of those now?
I have not.
Oh, man.
Yeah, those are both things I want to watch.
Yeah, they're fucking great.
Yeah.
And
then the only other one that you have, I assume you're the three listed at the top are your three matches.
I believe so, yeah.
The other one you have is Naito and Ishii from May.
Yes, which I touched on already. Fucking fabulous performance from Ishii, like doing a bunch of stuff. Like, I think he knew this is a world title match. I may never get another one. I'm certainly never winning it. Let's go for it. And he did. Like, a bunch of stuff he's never done. A bunch of cool like leg work stuff that he's never done. So yeah, like absolutely stepped it up for one of the biggest matches of his career.
Question.
Go.
Both of your guys' top three.
Yeah.
Is it all New Japan?
Yeah, I think my three are New Japan. Yeah.
So at this point would be a good spot for me to do my filibuster.
Please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we'll end on your guys talking about.
You got to stop this vote.
Yeah. So I'm going to make a petition that there's no acceptable choice for match of the year besides from IWRG in the first week of September.
I 100% forgot about that. By the way.
Yeah.
Even though we talked about it
before we started recording.
Just before we started recording.
Yeah. IWRG first week of September. Mask versus Mask. Candice Lupus versus Trauma Primera, I guess you'd say.
Is it Primera or Uno?
I think it's Primera.
Really?
Yeah.
I've the Premier Trauma.
Well, I've heard that discussion where people saying Uno, Dos, Tres, or like Primera, Segunda, Tercera kind of thing.
The first and the second.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it's Primera and Segunda.
All right.
Los Traumas, who are the sons of Negro Navarro.
Yeah.
And
who has trained everyone in Lucha.
Like every good mat wrestler in Lucha.
Yeah.
They primarily work out of IWRG. They also do sometimes work for Liga Elite, which runs their big shows out of Arena Mexico.
Yeah.
So it's a Mask versus Mask match from September. It has like all the things you love in a good like heated Lucha mask blow-off match.
It really does.
And it doesn't have the things that usually bother me in high-end Lucha matches, which, I mean, the one thing that always bothers me...
Mexicans.
Exactly. Is you don't really get the drama of near falls because the counting is always really slow.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the counting is any faster in this or it's just the guys worked a pace where the near falls being a tad slower was still very believable.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, I enjoyed the near falls in this.
I enjoy the near falls very much, and I think it was just because they were so dramatic and the guys were like battering each other so much that it was believable that the referee could count this slow and they would still, you know, it's believable that it would take this long for them to kick out.
Yeah.
The match is incredibly bloody.
Yeah.
It has like very believable.
Candice gets a gusher.
So much blood. I normally really don't like mask gripping in matches, but like I guess there's just enough, but it doesn't cross the line.
Yeah.
The near falls are very believable. There's like kind of a tease neck injury by Trauma.
Yep.
They kind of tease
Candice, who is the face.
Yes.
Gives him a tombstone or
gives him a tombstone. Yeah. Which is like a banned move, even in like a big heated match like that.
It's a death move in Mexico.
Yeah. And so like there's like a tease thing where they're going to put like a neck brace on Trauma, but then he like valiantly like fights back because Canis is going to put him in his submission.
Yes, the spinning figure four, which you use.
Is like a spinning inverted figure four, which I have begun using.
It's cool. I say continue using it.
And Canis
use it today.
I don't know if I can use it today.
You might not.
Canis Lupus goes to use it on Trauma, and like Trauma, even though his like neck is fucked, is like still able to be like, nope, like no one's gonna put me in my hole, and like reverses it to put it on himself.
Yeah. A very valiant heel.
Yeah, it's just a crazy match.
Yeah.
It also has a crazy like post-finish, post-demasking ceremony marriage proposal by Canis Lupus.
Yep. Loses his mask, proposes
to his girlfriend, who takes off his mask for him.
Yeah.
He's like covered in blood.
Yeah.
And then proposes to her. It's
via a banner in the crowd.
Yes. It's a crazy match.
Yeah.
It's like, everything that is amazing about high-end lucha libre.
Yeah.
Other than like there's like no mat exchanging whatsoever. Like it's not that kind of high-end lucha libre.
No.
It's not like, one thing I've seen discussed is like high-end mask matches typically go for the dramatic, bloody, brawling style of match, and high-end title matches are more about exchanging holds and that sort of match.
Yeah.
It is not that kind of match. It is 100% like just a fight, and easily my favorite match I watched all year, and I think it'll be overlooked by a certain population.
It's getting some press though.
On like kind of like the under
in the wrestling nerd community, it's getting some press.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well worth it. Great match.
Yeah.
Anyways, talk about New Japan now, which a bunch of matches I did not see.
You saw.
I saw some of the matches from Wrestle Kingdom.
You've seen
and Okada Ishii.
You've seen two on mine.
There you go.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of lucha this year. It's definitely my lucha match of the year. And it's awesome and super fun. So
the other match I loved from Lucha this year was Rush versus LA Park from Liga Elite, but I won't go on a tangent about that.
Another just like crazy fun brawl.
Absolutely.
Blood, whatnot.
Yep.
All the good stuff. All good things. And then you also high on your list would be the besides whatever your favorite match of Bola would probably be high on your list, and then Hero and End against Sammy and Zach would be high on your list.
That match is very good too, yeah. But I'm not here to filibuster for that.
All right. I like your single track filibustering.
Yes.
It's very focused.
Yes.
All right, so top matches. Do you have others that haven't been mentioned?
Well, the only other one that I mean, it's been mentioned in passing was. Oh no, that's it. All right. I also had the Bola matches we talked about.
Yep.
And then Naito Ishii as well.
Yeah.
So that's what I have. So I assume that yours go 1, 2, 3.
Well, let me tell you something.
Okay.
I wrote down my 1, 2, 3 matches
in that order,
thinking that was the order that I was ranking them in.
Yes.
Then, like I did with Bola, actually the day before our first recording, last week, I watched all 3 that I thought would be my top 3, being pretty sure what they'd be ranking. So the 3 were Tanahashi Okada from the Dome, Okada Ishii from the G1, and Omega Naito from the G1.
Yep.
And I thought sort of almost kind of hands down Tanahashi Okada would be my number 1. It was not. I will say, to build up, Omega Naito was great, but I have it at number 3. Tanahashi Okada ended up at number 2, and I loved Ishii Okada more on the second viewing than the first. I thought the first day was a really good match. I watched it again, and I think I liked it so much because it was not a New Japan main event. Because it was...
well, it wasn't the main event.
I don't think it was the main event of the show. And they went, I don't know, 14, 15, as opposed to 30 or more. And they just fucking went for it. The match starts with Ishii just trying to kill Omega with nothing but like bombs and like big moves, like in the first 30, 60 seconds, and it's great. He gets like a couple like crazy hot near falls like right off the bat, and then like they keep up an awesome pace because they're able to, because it's much shorter than usual. I should turn off sometimes.
I was about to say you should turn off. We should park.
Yeah. So yeah, and then amazing pace all the way through. They then a great finishing sequence, and I had forgotten that Ishii won.
Yes.
Which was a delightful surprise at the end, because like Ishii was doing all this stuff, and it was like boom, 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 reverses an Okada tombstone into a fucking Fire Thunder, which was basically like the second half of him doing a screwdriver, which is like his once every several years kill move.
Yep.
And then hits the brainbuster. I'm like, whoa, wait, he's done a lot of stuff. So Okada kicking out? No, he's not. Fucking Ishii won. And it was awesome. Not to take away from Tanahashi Okada, because it was certainly more epic in scale, and like they did a bunch of amazing stuff, bunch of great callbacks to their previous matches. I think it was better than their 2015 Dome Show match. I would have to watch it back to back with their two big 2013 matches to see which is the absolute best. Mm-hmm. But they were all given 5 stars, so I think they're all pretty good. So yeah, that's what I got.
Mine, in order from bottom to top. Number 3, I had AJ and Nakamura from Wrestle Kingdom.
Yep, I didn't have that. I really liked it, but I think not unlike Tanahashi Okada in 2015, which got eclipsed by Ibushi Nakamura. I thought AJ Nakamura got eclipsed by Tanahashi Okada this year.
Gotcha. Totally fair. Number 2, I also agree with you on Okada Tanahashi from the Dome Show.
Uh-huh.
And number 1, I had Omega and Naito.
It's great.
It's fucking killer.
Yeah.
2 heels.
Yeah,
going at it.
That's the crazy thing, is that it's 2 heels.
And it wasn't.
You haven't seen this, right, Dan?
Nope.
Okay. You probably should. It's pretty good.
We got some watching to do.
Sure.
The semis and the finals for G1 are good. We should watch them. But yeah, that's what I had for match of the year. Apparently, I'm very heavy on the Kenny Omega this year.
Nothing wrong with that. He had a
super gay for him.
hell of a year.
He might be gay for me, but I'm not a skinny Japanese man.
Not with that attitude.
But you're correct. I feel like that's the end. I do have 2 or 3 real quick comments to make before we wrap this up. Number 1, I wish to propose the best storyline of the year, which was how much WWE hates Alberto Del Rio and Paige dating each other.
or almost anyone dating each other.
Or anyone, but
especially.
Yeah, like, they're the reason why they hate people dating each other.
Yeah.
Like, that's why every single couple pretty much got broken up. Because they don't want them together.
Yeah. That's why Carmella and Cass are on different shows. Yep. And I feel like there's another one.
There's more.
There's several.
And then the other thing is what I would feel to be is one of the shit men of the year, which was dude in the San Francisco Giants hat that passed out in the front row of Bola
every day
and slept through. I'm going to say 80% of Bola.
Yeah, 80% of the 3 days.
Just because he got too shit-faced and he couldn't stay awake.
Yeah, shit-faced before the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like in the afternoon.
In the afternoon, like the day, like before he gets to the venue, just gets fucking loaded, and then sits there and passes out the whole show. And like a couple people, like I know that Johnny Mundo did some stuff to him. Like took his hat off or something, didn't he?
Yep.
And like guy barely even was aware.
Tommy End almost moonsaulted onto him.
Yes,
Not on purpose.
Almost killed him.
Yeah.
And then the third and final one is that if we do this podcast next year, which I'm sure we will, and it is not very heavy on the Minoru Suzuki, I'm going to be super mad.
I hope
he better do a bunch of shit this year because he's back.
Well, I hope Suzuki Okada from February comes up, because they had
a very good match years ago.
They had an okay title match in 2013, and then a fucking amazing G1 match in 2014. That match was awesome. So do that again.
More Suzuki.
More Suzuki, less everything else.
So on that note,
emergency dump show review can wait because we have arrived at our destination
of food. I wish to declare
a national holiday.
I wish to declare money marks and people who are super gay for everything money marks do because they want the money marks money, attention, fanfare, booking, butt sex are a shithead.
I'm just going to co-sign on that one. That sounds pretty good. Dan, any shithead?
Nope.
Figured.